We're talking wide receivers for your week 4 fantasy lineups. Who do you start? Who do you sit? That's what we're talking with SI Senior Fantasy Analyst Michael Fabiano. You have the answers. We're going to get to start them and sit them. You have over a dozen pass catchers on this list. The article, it's up on si.com/fantasy. But let's focus on your top starts and your top sits. Odell Beckham Jr. and Jaylen Waddle. Tell us why.
I like OBJ this week, coming off of a week where he didn't see any limitations, Bill. I mean, he saw a full complement of snaps. He led the Browns wide receivers in targets, in catches, and receiving yards. And with Jarvis Landry still out, this is a smash spot for OBJ against the Vikings. No teams have given up more yards and more touchdowns to receivers lined out wide than Minnesota so far this season. So start OBJ. He's not elite anymore, folks, but he's a very nice wide receiver 2 or flex this week. And then Jaylen Waddle, I mean, he got all the targets last week. He only had 58 yards in Jacoby Brissett's first start, but he had 13 targets and 12 catches, and I think that's going to continue against the Indianapolis Colts. They have struggled against slot receivers so far this season, so Waddle is a strong flex play for me in a game that is, dare I say, the Jacoby Brissett revenge game.
All right, so that was good news if you have Odell or Jaylen Waddle, but not great news if you're trying to trust Henry Ruggs or Kenny Golladay this week. Those are your top sits at receiver.
Right. The Giants are potentially going to be down a couple of wide receivers due to injuries, but I still don't trust Kenny Golladay. I mean, you look at the numbers, and he has been very mediocre at best, and we heard reports last week that maybe his snaps and his targets were going to be decreasing. That didn't happen because of the injuries, but you got the Saints, and their defense is among the best and the toughest against wide receivers. He will likely be facing off against Marshawn Lattimore, so Golladay, even with the injuries, is a fade for me. And Henry Ruggs, he had a decent game last week. It wasn't terrible, but now he's got the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Going to be a lot of fun. SoFi Stadium is going to be rocking, but I would not start Ruggs against a Chargers defense that just held Tyreek Hill to 9.7 points in week 3. Ruggs, likely a guy that I would fade this week in what is a bad matchup.
All right, we got plenty more start and sit advice for receivers. We have quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, even defenses and kickers. It's all up on Sports Illustrated. Go check it out, si.com/fantasy.